All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. It is Thursday. Yesterday we had much stronger than expected jobs. We showed up at 130,000 for non-farm payrolls. Unemployment lower than expected at 4.3%. Still, it's not. It might not be the main event this week, because this week we have CPI inflation data tomorrow. The CPI inflation data is tomorrow. Today we have jobless claims, unemployment filings. And the reason this is relevant is because with all the jobs data that we've gotten that kind of contradicted itself, we'll see what this recent data looks like. This is recent data. Jobless claims is from the week before. So this is going to be unemployment claims from last week is the data we're getting today at 8:30. It's expected at 220,000. And we'll see what that looks like relative to everything else that we've seen. High non-farm payrolls, especially not necessarily high if you look at a normal scale, an average scale, because 130 is slightly like okay. They're not great, but it's not horrible either. A blowout would be like 220, 250 or more. But still, they were shockingly high relative to what a lot of the other unofficial data showed. So we'll see what today's jobless claims unemployment filings show up as today. But yeah, we'll see what happens. CPI inflation data is tomorrow. They're expecting inflation to be down to 2.5% for headline inflation. 2.5%. We'll see if we show up there. But yeah, stuff are basically flat today, modestly higher. Wall Street is still stabilizing after yesterday's jobs print. We did sell off a little bit after this print, though. If you look at the NASDAQ here, there was kind of some wild swings markets yesterday. Like the data came out right here, and you can kind of see the big sell-off, but we did stabilize after the big sell-off from the data. The data came out here. We pushed up originally and then fell all the way back down to these levels here. So after that, we did rebound back up. So we're still, honestly, we're net green from the payroll report, even though we did have a big sell-off in the middle of the day yesterday. We are net green from the payroll report, the unemployment report. Gold is down a little bit today. You can kind of see gold, and gold is one thing that did move down on this report as well. Just more stability in jobs, less uncertainty, so gold goes down. We have the S&P 500 today. If you take a look at it here, S&P's at 694s right now, 694s. Bitcoin is basically where we were yesterday. It might be up a little bit. It was down to 67s and 68s yesterday. So if we take a look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is looking a little green. I'll have to check to see if it's actually green on the day or not. Let me look. Yeah, Bitcoin's pretty flat on the day, actually. So I'm showing Bitcoin closed right around where we are now. Basically flat on the day. Maybe a little red, but not super red. And again, this was after it made a little bit of a rebound over the weekend, back up to 70,000 plus. It's back down to 67s. 67. So we'll see if it holds. Stabilization's okay with me for Bitcoin. If we can just stabilize, I think that's good. Nvidia is trying to push here. So Nvidia back over 190s and very green on the day. Closed right around 190 yesterday, all the way back up to 192s today. So Nvidia has been having a resurgence back up. A lot of people are wondering when we're going to break 200 again on Nvidia. And yeah, we got jobless claims, unemployment filings at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time today. We have some earnings, but they're not crazy big. We have NBIS, Nebius. They're down from their earnings report. I'll have to see what they showed. I think they showed up. But they are down from their earnings report. Brookfield, a couple other small companies, Crocs, BDPS, 229 versus 192 expected. Crocs, I don't know. I don't like investing in Crocs long term, just because it's fashion and trends change too much. It's all about whether they can essentially keep on that trendy market. Whether they can stay trendy, and I think that's a big risk to invest in, because most companies don't stay trendy long term. If you just look at trends. I mean, some do, but a lot of them don't. Robinhood did not do well now. Missed revenue. Down. Bitcoin descending triangle on daily down to 44,000. Been raging since 2 a.m. Cisco was cooked. Yeah, Cisco. I have to look at what the PE ratio is for Cisco. The American economy is okay if CPI drops tomorrow. We're going to the stars, maybe. Or if CPI heats tomorrow, we might be going to the dumpster. We'll see what happens. I'm so glad to hear about the jobs report. Somebody better be funding my Social Security after paying into the system for 40 years. I better get Social Security too. That's all I'm saying. You know, I've been paying into that thing too. Not a small percentage. You know, I demand Social Security. Yeah, Robinhood again. Green on the day actually, but again, it's had a kind of a downfall. It was at 85s, 86s. So it bounced a little bit from its lows yesterday, but it's still red, of course. So I'm actually green on the day in stocks, which is nice. That's a nice thing. Buy Microsoft on the dip. Yeah, Microsoft has been dipping here. Down to 405s. Microsoft, in the middle of the AI boom, Microsoft was running. I remember this thing was up at crazy levels, though. Like, if you look at actually where Microsoft went, it went up to 555s. You know, this thing was running during the middle of the AI boom. It kind of gave it all back, though. It seems like, look, I'm going to preface this with I am not a freaking investment professional. Half the time I'm wrong about 60% of the time I'm wrong every time, guys. But I am not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Do not copy me. I have no idea what I'm talking about half the time. Don't do it. Don't copy me. With that said, Microsoft seems like a good buy right now. Again, it seems like a good buy. Let me see what the PE ratio is. PE ratio is 25 as of now. 25 isn't terrible as a PE. Well, I want to buy it. All right. How much should we buy of Microsoft? I started off small. Maybe add to it if it goes. Down enough. $400 might support it. And if not, it's small enough to where we're not super about it. I wonder if the chat's going to yell at me now. Do not copy me. Do not. I did yesterday about Microsoft yesterday. It seems, look, I'm not an investment professional, not financial advice. It seems reasonable. Low PE, big pullback from highs. You know, it's Microsoft, so it's a relatively healthy long-term company, I think. Doesn't seem terrible, but who knows? Maybe it crashes tomorrow. If it does, I'll make fun of myself, but Crocs was surprised to see $1 billion almost in sales. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if y'all have ever been to a Crocs store. When we go to Michigan, we've been to the Crocs store. The Crocs store is cool, but all they sell is Crocs, surprisingly enough. And so I'm not a big Crocs wearer, you know. Like, if I wear Crocs, I feel like, what's his name? Right, if I wear Crocs, I feel like this guy right here. You know? Like, if I wear Crocs, this is who I feel like. You know? My son loves Crocs. If I wear them, I'm this guy. So I just don't wear them. They got all the charms you can put in them. I'm just not about it, you know. My son loves it, but yeah. Anyways, Nvidia, big story of the day. Nvidia is up some. Okay, we'll see if the Nasdaq holds here. We've had a really good string of trades this week, though. We really have, honestly. I don't know how much we've been losing, but I don't think we've been losing very much accuracy-wise. Yeah, we're running at 66% accuracy. Here's the last week. I'll say it's all pretty good. All pretty good. I'll take it. We'll see if it continues today, guys. We'll see if it continues today. Mostly long, honestly, is what I'm doing. Mostly long. I've been day trading stocks as well. Yeah, I saw MBIS. Did not look good. I see China orders recall of specific Nestle infant formula batches. Tax police search Amazon's Italian headquarters and new probe into alleged fiscal fraud, according to reports. All right, so according to UBS, Fed cuts are still likely, but no rush, according to UPS. Easing U.S. inflation should keep the Federal Reserve on track for rate cuts despite strong jobs data. UBS Global Management says it expects 25 basis point cuts in June and September, supporting equities, bonds, and golds. After the labor report, markets trimmed expectations to about 50 basis points from 60 and now price the first cut in July instead of June, according to LSEG. January CPI data will be released tomorrow, though, and that might influence all of this, all of these odds here. Yeah, taking a look at treasuries and yields specifically, you know, one of the things that you see from strong labor reports is you see higher yields because interest rate sentiment goes up, right? Less need to cut, higher interest rate sentiment. And so if you look at yields did spike up originally on this report yesterday. Here is when the report came out right here, and you can see yields jump and stabilize. They're still at 4.16%, 4.16. They're a little bit higher than they were, but honestly, yields have been kind of falling down. If you look at the broader trend of yields over the last few weeks, yields have been falling down, lower interest rate sentiment. But again, if inflation shows up hot tomorrow, this might push yields higher as well. We can take a look at Fed Watch Tool and see what the odds are for rate cuts now. Again, this fell from 23 or 22% yesterday in terms of a 25 basis point rate cut odds at 23% yesterday. They're now all the way down to under 6% likelihood of a 25 basis point rate cut in March. April, it goes up to 20% or 21.5% if you add these wild 50 basis point cut expectations. That would basically, 50 basis point cut, either 25 in March and 25 in April. And then June is when it's looking about 61% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut by June. 40% likelihood of a pause by June. So, see what happens. But yeah, Nvidia is still pushing up this morning at 192.40s right now. 192.40s for Nvidia here. Let's see if this continues, chat. Yeah, I wear a lot of Hey Dudes as well. All these charts are showing signs of an AI bubble. This is what it looked like before the tech crash of 2000. Yeah, I mean, that might be true. I entered a Palantir short last night, down 3%. Sounds like a stressful trade, brother. Stressful trade. Good luck. No rate cuts until May. Well, May, there's no Fed meeting. So June is when you mean. Again, WAR steps in June. That's what you're basing it off of. Powell steps down in May, and WAR steps in June. At the end of May, Powell steps down. The first Fed meeting after Powell's steps down is in June. So, again, jobless claims coming out today. These are unemployment filings from last week. They're expected at 220,000 today for initial jobless claims numbers. We'll see what those show up as, but SanDisk, man, wild swings here. Why is SanDisk up like this? It's got to be catalyst related, no? Hold on. SanDisk, when I looked at it yesterday, was at 5 something. Now it's at 640s. Okay, so memory shortage outlook is causing SanDisk to pump. So yesterday we had memory shortage outlook. SanDisk rise comes amid a tightening supply-demand landscape for memory chips, particularly NAND, which is what SanDisk sells, is expected to push earnings and margins towards cycle highs, adding more pressure in price as broader markets go lower. Goldman Sachs now anticipates a big undersupply of DRAM and NAND memory this year and next year, with DRAM undersupply projected at about 4.9% and 2.5% respectively. The firm also expects conventional DRAM pricing to increase by 176% overall this year in 2026. Operating margins from major memory producers, especially DRAM, forecast to reach record levels of 70 to 80%. So yeah, this is all Goldman Sachs's outlook on memory is causing SanDisk to pump here. SanDisk, again, yesterday when I looked at this was at 540s. Yeah, it's up to 640s now, up $100 a share overnight, or yesterday and today. So big moves here. Look at the NASDAQ still push here as well. And again, this is after SanDisk went up to like, what, 700s after its earnings report, back down to 5s, back up to 640. Crazy swings in this. Sure, options traders are loving this thing now. Again, Nvidia pumping up this morning. Nasdaq been in a range all morning, but it's up to 25 threes. I'm wondering if we're gonna have choppiness today just because of CPI inflation tomorrow. CPI inflation is such a large report. I'm wondering if we're gonna have chop. Yeah, so that's why SanDisk is up. Again, SanDisk is up, particularly from Goldman Sachs' memory outlook. We'll hit 1,000 and then we might dump. Yeah, we got jobless claims unemployment today. Yeah, for sure. And we have CPI inflation tomorrow. Yeah, today we got jobless claims. Existing home sales at 10. We got a 30-year bond auction at 1. All right, so Monis Crespi hard cuts to sell from buy for Coinbase. Again, SanDisk up to 640s. We're definitely watching that today. Again, Apple, if you look at it, it's at 274s right now. 274s. AMD green on the day with most other chip stocks. See if this holds though. All right, so Wright is speaking, which I believe is the energy secretary. Wright speaking right now. He said Venezuelans are in charge of their country. Venezuelans are in charge, but U.S. has enormous leverage. What he's saying. Russia is going to ship oil to Cuba as fuel crisis deepens. So Russia is going to send oil and fuel to Cuba as humanitarian aid. Embassy said the last shipment was 100,000 metric tons in February. Cuba is facing severe fuel shortages after U.S. measures restricted oil supply, forcing airlines to source their own jet fuel. It's not received oil from Venezuela since mid-December. The EU Commission says Chinese tariffs on the European Union dairy imports considered unwarranted and unjustified as well. Oil, on the other hand, is up. Look at Nvidia still testing highs. Oil down on the day, I mean. Let's do a poll here. Ooh. How about, are you bullish on tomorrow's CPI report? Bullish or bearish on tomorrow's CPI report, chat? Let me know. Here's the poll. Hey, what's up, Jono? What's up, Greg, Steve, Pawn, Mamba, Harry, Ramy, On, World, JC, Joe, Ava, Mai, P, K, Brian, Nathan, Farmer, Scottish, Bam Bam, Biggest, Kick, Creative, Kato, Steve, oh, Lee over there, Nick, Jonathan, Brack, William, Jason, Dave, R, Dom, Lowell, Camille, Baresh, Big Slum. Morning, guys. Yeah, Nvidia is moving this morning. Oil down a little bit. Nvidia is moving today. Nasdaq's pretty flat. I don't know how to trade this right now. Again, jobless claims, unemployment filings go live. Jobless claims, unemployment go live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So, it goes live in what? An hour and 20. I know, I'm sorry, this is less than an hour. This is what, maybe like 51. we go. So I got that timer up here as well. Again, vote on the poll. Let me know what you guys think. So far, bears are up 57% are bullish or bearish on the CPI report tomorrow. Yields going down, man. Market's pricing in a recession. I mean, yields have been going down for the last week or two, yes. They're still up a little bit from yesterday's job report, though. So it depends on what inflation shows up as prior to yesterday's report. Again, and this is why people don't trust the data. Hey, my guy Bulldog, thank you, brother. My guy Super Chat battle for all you supporters. Hey, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it, Bulldog. Shout out to Bulldog. Y'all go check out his channel. He's got some good stuff. But yeah, thanks for the dono, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah, so prior to yesterday's job report, we had multiple different labor reports that showed weakness. We had JOLTS show up lower than expected at 6.5 million. We had jobless claims show up higher than expected at 231K last week. We had ADP data show up about half of what was expected at about 22,000 versus 50,000 expected. We had weak signs and jobs, challenger job cuts, highest level since January of 2009, highest level for a January challenger job cut report in 17 years. And so these are all what drove yields down. Yields decreased because yields and interest rate sentiment follow each other. And if it's looking like the labor market's going to be weak, yields go down. But yesterday, jobs were strong. The labor market looked stronger than expected. And so yields went up a little bit. They're still net down, though. Because, again, I think what we asked people this yesterday, and again, I'll go ahead and ask it again. Will they revise yesterday's job data? I don't know. Like, will they revise it to show more weakness than the report showed? I don't know. I think it's possible they do. Yeah. Appreciate the $20 donation, Bulldog. Thanks, man. Great. Orange super chats are always good. They're always good, bro. Thank you. But will they revise it again, guys? I don't know, man. We'll see what today. Again, jobless claims. The reason jobless claims is relevant every week is because it's more recent data than a lot of the other reports. So even the payroll report we got yesterday was from January, right? So the payroll report from yesterday was from January. A lot of the other reports were from December. So yesterday's report, a little delayed. Jobless claims is more recent reports. Hey, another donation, man. Thank you so much, bro. $20 too rich for what y'all have made off my guy. Who can beat $20? Hey, thank you, man. Wait until 8:30. We might get more people. But I appreciate you starting a trend of donations. Thanks, brother. Yeah, they revised jobs down for 2025 substantially yesterday. It was still less revisions than expected, but they still revised it down by a large margin. I think they revised it down at what I read yesterday was like 898,000 jobs revised down for 2025 versus 900 plus expected, but it still dropped the jobs numbers from last year a lot. So the question is, will they revise yesterday's job numbers down more? That's the question. And I really don't know. Again, Nvidia is still testing highs, but a little slower here. Snapchat. Yeah, I mean, Snapchat, listen, man, I have kids. Snapchat's hard to monetize. It's just a chat app. That's all it is. You know, it's hard to monetize that. You know, they could try to monetize data, but, you know, yeah. I mean, I don't personally use Snapchat, but they monetize it. Or they're trying to monetize it. It's been a long road to monetization, though, and so down to $5. Maybe it's worth a buy. I don't know. I was gonna file for bankruptcy or something. All right, so Pawn got a membership. Jeff Jones got a membership. Barry UFC got a membership. Army Piper got a membership. Chris B got a membership. Sorry, Sam, you didn't get one, bro. But no, thank you, Bulldog. Thanks, bro. If I could give you a membership, Sam, I would, dude. You know. But I appreciate it, Bulldog. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. Bulldog's like Oprah with memberships. What it is. Again, Sandus down at 630s, but up to 650s at the highs this morning from Goldman Sachs putting out higher memory outlook for pricing. I bought Snap just below 5. It almost seems like a buy. I mean, I could take a risk on it. It's going to be a tiny trade, though. Like for Snapchat. What's a reasonable trade here? Like a couple hundred shares? Started out with a baby trade. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, what's up, Sergio? Provo. Light Chaser. I'm buying Snapchat, but I don't trust it at all. I genuinely don't trust it at all. Yeah, I genuinely don't trust it. Hey, thank you, Mama Pawn. I appreciate it. Yeah, he's got a good channel. Y'all go check him out. Subscribe to him. Bulldog trading, that is. All right, so VA got a membership. John Shanks got a membership. Sergio got a membership. Josh Brown got a membership. Uncle Nelly got a membership. Reddit stock getting beat up here. Thank you, Bulldog. Appreciate it. Again, Reddit. Under 140s. Reddit's got beat up. Honestly, I thought Reddit went up a little bit too much, though. Like, I know that's not the cool thing to say here. But, you know, I remember when Reddit IPO'd, and for a company that hasn't shown the most consistent profits, the growth has been okay, but for a company that has not shown the most consistent profits, I love you. Have a good day. For a company that hasn't shown the most consistent profits here, I haven't been as interested in attacking it. Look at Reddit's moves here, though. Like, Reddit had done prior to January, prior to really the last couple weeks here, Reddit was flying. But again, Reddit is a relatively new company. It only IPO'd, when is this? In 2023. Or no. I'm sorry. Reddit only IPO'd. It wasn't even then. It wasn't even that long. In 2024, Reddit IPO'd. And so, it's just too early for me, for Reddit. It's just too early. You know, prior to Netscape, companies didn't IPO before they had years of profits. Netscape in the 90s IPO'd pre-profits and made billions of dollars and kind of changed the landscape for IPOs. But it certainly made IPOs more risky after that because companies would IPO pre-profits and some of them would do well. Hey, thank you, brother. Don't donate so much, dude. You don't need to, bro. I make plenty of money, brother. I appreciate it, though. Thanks so much, Bulldog. $100 donation, man. You're on the most real stock market YouTuber, period. Hey, thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man. Crazy donations, brother. Crazy donations. Thank you. Everybody's got memberships today because of Bulldog. So, shout out to Bulldog. Thank you for the donations, man. Hey, dude. How you doing, bro? Love you, dude. Have a good day, man. Wear your good glove. Brown one. Alright. Alright, bud. Have a good day, dude. I'm not saying you don't make plenty of money. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't need anybody to donate money. You know, I appreciate it, though. It's not you. I feel bad when anybody donates money to me. I appreciate it, though. Thank you so much. I'm definitely biased. I'm top 3 most biased ever. Again, 30% of the time, I'm wrong every time. I got the Dunder Mifflin mug today. You know. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin? I like Bitcoin. I'm in Bitcoin. I want Bitcoin to go up. It's a little scary short term. I believe in it long term. Not investment advice. Not professional investment advice. But I believe in it long term. Short term, I have no idea what it's going to do, though. And big money's getting involved, and I don't know where it's going. We'll see. Again, jobless claims unemployment, 8:30 tomorrow, guys. 8:30. We'll see what happens. But 8:30 tomorrow, jobless claims unemployment. Bullish day? Yeah, looking at our poll, 54% are bullish. Hey, love you too, bro. Appreciate it, man. Thanks. Yeah. We both took a sip of coffee at the same time. Listen, man, great minds think alike, dude. That's all I'm saying. We're coffee brothers now. That's what it is. But yeah, Bitcoin, I don't know what it's going to do. We'll see. Again, Reddit, though. Is it time to buy Reddit is the question. What's the PE ratio of Reddit? Has Reddit even had 4 quarters of EPS profits in a row to give us an EPS for the year? Let me see. One, two, three. It has. Okay, so Reddit actually has. Let's see what the PE ratio of Reddit is. I don't trust AI. Reddit PE ratio, let's see. We got 124 a quarter plus 80. Trend is better though. Plus 45. Plus 13 cents. So the yearly EPS for Reddit is 262. Current share price is what, 140? Yeah, 262. 140 divided by 262 gives us a PE ratio of Reddit of 53. Not the best PE. Little high for Reddit. I'm not buying it. Although the pullback does look okay. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I did buy Microsoft this morning. If it's a top 3 worst trade ever. Again, Nvidia, AMD pushing up this morning. Oil's down. Gold is down. Assuming silver is down. Silver's down. Yeah. SanDisk is up big after Goldman Sachs raised memory price outlook. SanDisk at 635s. 635s. Don't buy Reddit because I own a couple businesses and try to advise them. Advertise with them and it sucked large and they have no customer service or even tried. Oh. Any chance Wash doesn't get confirmed? I mean, yeah, there's a chance Wash doesn't get confirmed. Let's look at odds makers here. Look at odds makers. I'm up that much on John Blue Chip advice of the last 5 years. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Not investment advice, but I appreciate it. Thanks so much. I'm one of those people that really has a hard time accepting a compliment. I really am. I appreciate it, though. But I don't know what to say with compliments. Again, at this point in time, a shutdown on Valentine's Day on February 14th is looking 83% likely. 83% likely a shutdown. 83% likelihood of a shutdown. It's just a partial shutdown. It's not going to influence economic reports. But again, we'll see. Let me see if I can find more on what was the question on Wash? So that would be economics. All right, so not very large chance. There's only a 6% chance of a 25 basis point cut next month, which is kind of what lines up with the Fed Watch tool. 38% likelihood of a cut by April meeting. I still don't think that's going to happen either. Depends on what the data shows up as next month, though. In March, 18% of only 1 basis point cut this year, though, on odds makers. I don't see anything. Let me see if I can find Wash. Yeah, so at this point in time, there is a 57% chance that Kevin Warsh is formally nominated as Fed chair by February 28th. A 58% chance Warsh is nominated as Fed chair by February 28th. I'm not blocking the gift giver. I'm not gonna block Bulldog Trading, you know. Check his channel out. His channel's great, guys. Y'all check it out. I just don't know. You know, like I said, I might get awkward when you give it to me. You know. So I showed my daughter this picture of Sam Darnold, and my daughter was like, "Oh my gosh, John, that's your twin." Let me see. Showed my daughter this picture. I don't know how I feel about it. So, you know, I don't know how I feel about this. You know, I was asking my wife yesterday. I was like, "Baby, do I have red hair?" And she was like, "Kind of." Like, my whole life, I've been like a partial ginger, and I just never knew it. Never knew it. She was like, when the sun gets in your hair, it's a little red. Who knew my hair was slightly red here, man? I didn't, for sure. You know, I've been going my whole life judging gingers just a little bit, you know, just kind of a little bit of judgment for gingers. Whole life. You know, who knew? SanDisk PE ratio. Let me see. I'm showing -70. Wait a minute. Let me see what the margins are for SanDisk. Yeah, SanDisk is such a new company for being public. SanDisk has not had 4 quarters of positive EPS. Right? Yeah, this is SanDisk's EPS graph. Again, SanDisk has not had 4 quarters of EPS profits. The last 3 were, but the one before that was negative $13 a share plus EPS. So SanDisk has not had 4 quarters of profits here. Think I'm gonna get in Snap? Yeah, that's what I did. Again, I'm not telling you guys to do it. Do you believe in money rotation from gold to Bitcoin? Somewhat. Hey, thank you, Best. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man. Best channel to watch for economic news. Hey. Oh yeah, Pawn got one and you didn't, Sam. Yeah. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Again, jobless claims unemployment today, guys. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Expected at 2:20. Tomorrow's the big one, though. CPI inflation is tomorrow. That's the big report. Today's jobless claims, we'll see if it moves markets. Tomorrow's CPI inflation report is almost certain to move markets. So we see Evercore coming out regarding Warsh. We just talked a lot about Warsh. Warsh may not be the Fed hawk markets expect, according to Evercore. Kevin Warsh's reputation as a hardliner on inflation may be overstated, according to Evercore. Krishna Gua. While his nomination initially pushed yields higher and gold lower, Gua says Warsh is better seen as a pragmatic conservative who distinguishes between supply and demand-driven inflation, making him potentially more flexible today. He has pointed to AI and productivity gains as positive supply shocks, which could reduce pressure for tight policy. He also favors a smaller Fed balance sheet, but is unlikely to pursue aggressive tightening that could disrupt markets. In a politically charged environment, they expect the Fed's consensus-driven approach to continue, though under unusual stress. And again, I talked about this yesterday. Markets did interpret Warsh as more hawkish, right? But you got to understand the way in which he's more hawkish. He's more hawkish in this specific way, in that he is less willing to do quantitative easing money printing, right? So he is less willing to do his logic. And what I think he's going to do is I think he's going to be more willing to lower interest rates. I think Trump talked to him. Trump nominated him. And so I think he's got to have some idea of Warsh and what he plans to do. I think he's going to be more willing to cut interest rates, less willing to stimulate through quantitative easing. Which, if you want to combat inflation, but still have lower interest rates, that's probably the way. You know, again, I know people make it really political. I'm not very political here. I'm just looking at it objectively as objectively as I can. And I think quantitative easing causes more inflation than a lot of people realize. It's really one of the reasons we had inflation spikes from 2020. In 2022, inflation hit almost 10%. And so I think that logic actually makes sense, regardless of who you want or whatever. At least I hope he's not super hawkish or restrictive. But we'll see. Again, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, again, Trump nominated Powell, and look where that got him. So, I mean, it doesn't mean Warsh is going to sing Trump's tune. It doesn't. And so, again, I think it all depends on what inflation shows up as over the next few months until Warsh takes his seat. I think it depends on what inflation shows up as, and that's why tomorrow's report very relevant. Tomorrow's report is very relevant just because it's going to be, it's going to be inflation print that we haven't seen in a little bit. And so because of that, definitely relevant. And again, Warsh himself is not going to be able to change the whole tune of the Fed here, right? So just because Warsh is the FOMC chairman does not mean, they have to vote. It's not just Warsh in there. And I see some people saying that in chat, and that's absolutely true. It's not just Warsh in there. And again, recently, when you look at the last few FOMC meetings, they've been split. We've had dissenters in the last few meetings. So yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, so SMIC says memory and BCD chips in short supply and prices are increasing. Some peers are cutting mature capacity and tightening supply right now. So, see what that looks like too. US needs 3% GDP and 7% inflation to service the debt. Yeah. 7% inflation? I hope not. I don't like inflation, obviously. Nobody should, but I don't want inflation to go up. Again, I'm self-employed here. I don't want inflation to go up. So I hope you're wrong, Sam, but I don't necessarily think you are. We'll see. MU had some news yesterday, did it? Micron Technology stock rallied almost 10% yesterday. An executive, so the memory chip makers HBM4 is in high volume production and started shipping to customers. The CFO Mark Murphy says went up 10%. Mark Murphy to project confidence at Wolf Research Conference yesterday, and he looks to have delivered. He addressed what he called inaccurate reporting about MU about the company's next-gen high bandwidth memory positioning. Says Wednesday morning that the company's HBM4 offering is in high volume production. Shipments to customers have successfully ramped in the first quarter. He noted that with that development occurring a year ahead of when the company was initially expecting. Again, here's MU. Gapping up to 424s, man. MU has had a long run. I remember when MU was at $100 a share. The good old days when MU was $100 a share, a long time ago. 6 months ago, MU's at $100 a share 6 months ago. It's now at $410 a share now. So, hey, what's up, crypto? I tend to view yields as the true inflation rate since that's the rate anyone park their money in for. Yeah, I get it. I think Nvidia will finally break this trend over 200. I think it's trying this morning. It's gotten up there. But pulling back to 192 now. Let's see if we bounce here for Nvidia. All right, so there's 8 o'clock. We still have 30 minutes until the jobless claims report shows. I'm very rarely wrong. 10% of the time, you're wrong every time, Sam. No, I'm just joking. I mean, that would give you 90%. But still. No, like I said, I don't necessarily disagree with you. You're ahead of schedule. Here for the bell. Hey, good luck, dude. Looking at our poll, 56% are bulls out of 400 votes. 56% are bulls. SanDisk at 640. Think you can hit 1,000? See what we get here. We'll see what we get. Source, trust me, bro. I trust you, bro. I'm the top 3 most trusted bro out there. And we'll see what happens. What's on coffee cup? Dunder Mifflin. My family's a big Office family. Like, that's like our comfort show. We watch The Office. I hated it when I first saw it, though. It's too dry. Carol had to force me to watch it for like a year before I finally liked it. Took a little while. Choppy this morning. Yeah, I mean we're a day ahead of FOMC or of CPI inflation data. We also have jobless claims at 8:30 today, and so market's choppy, flat, sideways here. Not a shock. Yeah, market's basically sideways, not doing too much. You mind sharing your bias on markets? I mean, my bias is I don't really have one intraday. I don't know which way the market's going to go. Again, my bias on markets today is sideways push into CPI inflation data makes sense. Sideways action into CPI makes sense. How sideways, I'm not sure. Sometimes we get big runs leading into CPI. CPI is such an influential report tomorrow that I think big traders and investors are going to be more apprehensive and just wait to take big positions. And so because of that, we might have choppiness leading into it. And then some vol, and depending on how much over or under expectations we get for CPI tomorrow is going to influence how much we actually move from it. But yeah, I think sideways chop leading into CPI tomorrow. Just jobless claims might move markets today in 25-30 minutes. It just depends on what they show up as. We get really high jobless claims, markets might go down. We get really weak jobless claims, markets might go up, or vice versa. We've honestly seen counter trends like that, good as bad, bad as good scenarios lately, because markets want easing, I think, a lot as well. Bitcoin did react some, but it's basically flat over the last 24 hours here. It's basically where it was yesterday when we were looking at Bitcoin here. So the Dementors, huh? Yeah. Prison Mike. Yeah, odds of rate cuts did go down substantially. And again, we're going to trade today, but yeah, exit out of some of this. I got too many. I can't afford more ramp, guys. I got to close out some of these windows. Again, but yeah, Kevin Warsh, 57% likely he's formally nominated by February 28th. But we will see what we get. CPI inflation data tomorrow is going to be really interesting. Why is it going to be interesting? Because this is January CPI. We've had delayed CPI data for a while now. This is January CPI. It drops tomorrow. It's expected at a pretty low number year over year for headline CPI inflation. It's expected at 2.5. Last time was 2.7. They're expecting it to decrease again. And honestly, the last 2.7 print had people upset saying, you know, it's going to get revised or it's fake data or manipulation or whatever it is. Kind of like everybody was saying yesterday about the jobs report. A lot of people said the jobs report is going to get revised. Can't necessarily disagree based off of historical trends. But they're expecting headline CPI year over year to go down to 2.5% tomorrow. We'll see if it does. But yeah, we'll see if it's accurate, even if it does. The BLS, not that I don't trust the BLS, but I just don't trust BLS right now. Too many revisions for me to trust some of the stuff they're saying, but maybe they'll be accurate. We'll see. 4-year cycles leaning on Bitcoin hard. The low, maybe buy. JP Morgan sees institutional stepping back in crypto towards the end of the year. Yeah, I mean, with Bitcoin's price declining, I mean, I do think that makes sense. Yeah, so the Robinhood CEO said prediction market's fastest growing business in our history, 300 million run rate in its first year. I think we're just at the beginning of prediction market super cycle that could drive trillions in annual volume over time. You guys agree? I think prediction markets are you know, obviously going to be a big market. I think it makes sense. You know, prediction markets essentially used to be called like derivatives in trading. And it's not exactly the same thing, but it's very similar. So if anybody's ever seen The Big Short, you know, whatever the firm was, where they would take low odds things on things that rarely happened so that they were cheap. But when they were right, they made a bunch of money from it. That's basically what a lot of people do with derivatives. They look at the spread, they find plus EV bets, and they just kind of do that over and over again. And especially with AI's help, I think that market's going to grow a lot. You know, I think we might see more regulation coming in the future, but I think with AI, those markets are going to grow. Again, the SPY at 693s here. So the SPY's pretty green on the day as well. Where's the Dow at? Dow is pretty green, although pulling back a little bit. Over 50K for the Dow. CPR's tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I think it's overhyped like cannabis. I don't know if cannabis is overhyped. Cannabis just had lobbyists against it. You know? So cannabis is just lobbied against by a lot of the time alcohol and tobacco companies, or the prison industry, or law enforcement, right? Like people who have an innate, people who have an incentive to keep it illegal, basically. Same thing with, I don't know if it's the same thing with betting markets. I'm sure some people don't like it, though. I mean, I'm sure it's eating somebody's lunch in that context, regarding betting markets. But I don't think Brownfield Fund was the real name. I think that might have been the name in The Big Short. The real name of the firm was something different. Yeah, single stock futures are coming back as well, guys. That's great. I think it's going to grow the prop space. I think it's just going to be good for, I'm going to enjoy day trading stock futures. Yeah, so I'm going to enjoy betting on stock futures. All right, guys, we have about 20 minutes left until jobless claims unemployment filings come out. About 20 minutes here, chat. Betting markets are getting pretty big. They're getting pretty big. I think they're a great research tool as well. I use them a lot on my stream since they started. Like, I've used them, 3 times today to look at odds for different things. And again, there's something called the wisdom of the crowd. All right, a lot of people don't understand this, but in statistics, there's something called the wisdom of the crowd. All right, and what that means is that when you have enough people putting their opinions in regarding what's going to happen, you get some accuracy from it. You do get some accuracy. It's not perfectly accurate, of course, but you do have something called the wisdom of the crowd. And so people use, people use these betting markets to gauge that, to see what the likelihood is. You see it a lot on the Fed Watch tool. You see it a lot in yields, right? Is it perfect? No, but it does give you a little bit more data regarding outcomes, and can be useful. Again, I use it for my stream a lot already. So, hey, what's up, Tiny? Yeah, all good. Yeah, I agree, P. All right, chat. Again, we have 20 minutes. 20 minutes. NVIDIA bouncing exactly at that 200 exponential here. 192s right now, but you can see here's the 200 exponential on NVIDIA. And again, that's precisely where we bounced. We'll see if that continues. What's up, Chef? Jobless claims unemployment 830. Will the jobs blowout continue here, guys? I don't know. Higher or lower jobless claims today? Let me know in chat. You guys think we get higher or lower claims? Again, tomorrow's CPI print is going to be one of the most important things, though. 2.5% is what's expected. If we're getting close to the 2% target, I think a lot of people are going to start pushing for more rates. Or rate cuts. Lower. Higher or lower CPI. I see a lot of lower CPI. So y'all think inflation's going to come in low tomorrow? Maybe. Yeah, the only thing I ever got close to using a prediction market in terms of actually putting money in was I thought we would pause this month, or last month in January. I thought we would pause rates in January, and there was like 10% edge or something in there. I don't know if it was an edge, but there was a 10% likelihood or something like that. I thought the likelihood we would pause last month was much lower. I even talked about it on stream. I was like, I might actually take, this bet just because I thought it was super probable that we were going to pause in January. I should have done it. I didn't end up doing it. I should have done it because we did pause in January. So if there's one thing that I might bet on, it would be rate decisions. Because I think sometimes that's just easy money. Now, it's not for me. Okay, I'm not bragging. Pretty easy to get rate decisions correctly. But that's the only market I might put money on. But I still have it yet. CPI will tell us if businesses are passing on tariffs to customers. Bringing single stock futures will increase volatility in the market with all the new cycles. Today is jobless claims. Tomorrow is CPI inflation. But tomorrow's the main event for sure coming up this week. So tomorrow's CPI inflation is the big thing for sure. 17 minutes here. Yeah, 17 minutes. I bet the farm that CPI comes in higher tomorrow. I wouldn't necessarily. I don't think it's super predictable unless you have insider knowledge, number one. Number two is I think we've seen trends go against that. And maybe you're right. Again, I have no idea what CPI is going to show up as tomorrow. Again, yesterday's job numbers, I bet 30,000. We ended up showing 130. Literally 100,000 more than I thought we would. But again, I don't necessarily think it's predictable. There's too much variance. So I'm not betting the farm on any rant like that. Netflix. I mean, I like Netflix, but it's down. And I'm in it right now. You don't love to see it, but it's down. I'll probably sit on this, though. I'm not really going to sell. I ended up taking profit when Netflix got up to like 82s, which it looks like a good thing. I'm still in some of it, though. Or maybe it was like 84s is where I don't know where I got out. But I sold about half of my position up there, which is good. Hindsight is probably good. I might add back down here. I don't know. My average is only $80.84. So my average is pretty close to where we are now. I'll probably just sit in this. Not investment advice, though. All right, so the president's trade advisor, Navarro, says USMCA has significant flaws. Significant flaws. Again, Robinhood CEO Vlad says prediction markets are the fastest growing business in our history. 300 plus million run rate in its first year. I think we're just at the beginning, he says, looking at Robinhood. Is it time to buy Robinhood, guys? I think we're just at the beginning of the prediction market cycle that could drive trillions in annual volume over time, Vlad said. The risk in Robinhood is crypto. If crypto continues to drop. Again, and I'm looking at this. Bitcoin and ETH may face further declines, according to Standard Chartered's Jeff Kendrick. They said think Bitcoin and ETH may face further declines as risk appetite weakens. The softening U.S. economy and reduced expectations for Fed cuts until June are weighing on markets alongside falling digital asset ETF holdings. He sees Bitcoin potentially dropping to 50K and ETH to 1,400. Bitcoin was recently 67,000, roughly after hitting a 16-month low of 60,000 last week. ETH traded at 1900s after touching a 9-month low at 1750s as well. You guys agree with that? Again, look at the NASDAQ turn down here a little bit ahead of this jobs report. Navarro is still speaking. He says USMCA has significant flaws. Mexico, Canada used as staging areas for China. Again, we have less than 15 minutes until jobless claims unemployment. You were correct. They were bad. They were bad numbers. I should cry manipulation. I should. Swing trading grab. Coinbase earnings coming up. What's up, Baba Pawn? Bitcoin can lose 75% easy. Doesn't mean it will. So many stocks lost 75% even though they're growing and profitable. Don't buy Hood until 50, somebody says. Yes, sir. Hood will take off soon and not because of crypto. Bitcoin going sub 50 and ETH is going to 1,000. All right, guys, 13 minutes left. 13 minutes left. Let's see what we get for jobless claims today. Your comment about the validity of averaging of crowds' opinions reminds me of the Lord of the Flies. Yeah, the wisdom of the crowd in Lord of the Flies definitely didn't hold, you know. My daughter had to read that book recently. I warned her, I was like, it's not a fun book. Not a fun book. Very sad book, actually. Bitcoin at 25K. Once the president loses, everyone knows where price is going. Awesome. I'll listen and be rich. What's up with Apple stock? Apple stock ended up going up on a lot of the fears of AI, but now that microchips are back running again, it's kind of coming back down some this morning. So it just depends. Like, Apple is seen almost as a counter trade to AI, since people historically were critical of Apple because it hasn't enwrapped itself in AI like a lot of other companies have pivoted to. So, John, can you tell me what the difference between the Texas Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange is? The Texas Stock Exchange is noticeably smaller and has less volume. At what point do we get disinflation? See tomorrow. SEC Chair Paul Atkins says U.S. is the crypto capital of the world, with transparency and innovation leading the way. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you consider disinflation, right? Like, we're going from 2.7 to 2.5%, so that's a small amount. But yeah, I try not to give people too big of predictions in anything, right? Like, I almost never tell people something's absolutely going to happen, just because I think that's silly. Like, acting like something is absolute. You know, there's a Star Wars quote I could use, but the reality of it is nobody freaking knows. Now, things might be highly, highly probable, but you gotta look at variance. I love poker, right? You gotta look at variance. Variance is real. Pocket aces might lose to 3-6. You know? What's the best performing asset this year? I don't know. Gold is down on the day. Again, more stability in jobs is less beneficial for gold. Same thing with silver, although they're stabilizing after their big crazy drops last few weeks. You get Nvidia back up to 190 plus here. The question is, when's it going to break 200? Still bouncing right at this 200 exponential level for Nvidia. Get about 9 minutes left, chat. 9 minutes left. FedEx announces their 2029 forecast. They think revenue is going to be about $99 billion, operating income of $8 billion, and operating margin of 8%. Should interest rates and inflation rates be the same? Question mark. They could be. Front running by the big boys is highly profitable. It's Bulldog Trading. If you want to check out their channel, Bulldog Trading. Thank you for the big donations. 220,000 is what's expected for jobless claims today. Again, jobless claims is relevant because it shows how many people are filing for unemployment week to week. So how many people are filing for unemployment week to week? It's a recent report is why it's relevant. Recent report. I'm going to put sub-only mode up there. Sorry, Pawn. I don't have Discord up right now. But yeah, we are now in sub-only mode, so we appreciate it. But yeah, jobless claims is relevant to labor because a lot of the other data is older data, right? Jobless claims is last week's unemployment filings. And so it's how many people filed for unemployment last week. And because of that, it's more real time versus a lot of the other data we get. 3 companies considering sale of US IG bonds today, according to a Bloomberg survey. And again, we got jobless claims in 8 minutes. Apple, China smartphone sales are down 23% as Huawei leads Apple's Bucks trend. China smartphone sales are down 23% year over year in January, hit by a tough comparison with last year's subsidy-driven surge and a shift in Lunar New Year timing. Counterpart data shows China led the market with 19% share despite a 27% sales drop, supported by aggressive trade-in offers and subsidies. Apple was the only major brand to post growth, reaching its highest January share in 5 years as the iPhone 17 gained traction and qualified for government subsidies. Demand remains soft though. Sales are expected to improve in February with seasonal lunar Here, buying. All right, jobless claims. 7 minutes. Yeah, sorry, Sam. Or sorry, Pawn. I think they said medical jobs. Yeah, yesterday's jobs report showed a couple things. The biggest gains, like jobless claims, or no, I'm sorry. Non-farm payroll showed up yesterday at 130,000 versus a 65,000 expected number. Most of those gains, 82,000 specifically, was in healthcare. So healthcare was the biggest winner in the jobs market. 80,000+ jobs gained in healthcare. The biggest loser in those markets was government jobs. Government jobs lost, I believe, 30,000+ jobs for the government, which is seen as kind of more layoffs from last year. So that was the story of the jobs market. Again, healthcare biggest winner, government biggest loser in terms of jobs yesterday. So yeah, so that was the story of yesterday's labor report. And again, tomorrow's CPI inflation report will be interesting as well. All right, guys, we got almost 1,300 people here. Again, we got jobless claims in 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Last minute predictions, higher or lower? Jobless claims numbers, higher or lower? Higher is weaker for jobs. Lower is better for jobs. Higher means more people filed for unemployment last week. Lower means less people filed for unemployment last week, initially. So, again, we'll see what we get. But higher or lower, let me know. Healthcare seems to be only filled with decent hiring. The rest was temporary AI data center build jobs, which would dry up within a year. Ty? Maybe. Somebody said when I say maybe, it means I think they're wrong. That's not necessarily true. Maybe genuinely just means maybe. You might be right. Lower, higher, lower. Last time jobless claims numbers for the week prior to this one's report showed up noticeably higher than expected. It was like 231 versus 212. So 231,000 jobless claims last time, initial claims, versus 212 expected. Today we're expecting higher than that though at 220. We'll see if we show up higher or lower now. Higher. MU's been on a run. Last year we added 180,000 jobs all year. I doubt 135 was bull. Yeah. I don't know. The big question is, does it get revised? The benchmark revision revised jobs down again. 898,000 for last year. So last year we only gained 180,000 jobs according to the reports, which obviously shows weakening. The big question is now it's a new year in 2026 and the labor report showed 130,000. Is that legit? Is it going to get revised? Big question. Historical trends continue. We might see revisions. Yeah, well, the revisions were lower than originally anticipated, but still 900,000 revised jobs down basically last year. So, all right, guys, here we go. 3.5 minutes here. Chat, 3.5 minutes. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. Again, we have CPI tomorrow, jobless claims today. CPI tomorrow, jobless claims today. We'll see what we get. 3.5 minutes. NASDAQ has been falling down over the last hour or so, leading in this report. There's Nvidia. Nvidia's consolidating. Maybe this data will wake the market up a little bit. SPY pulling down. Again, maybe this data will wake markets up some. But we do have CPI inflation data tomorrow here, chat. So it's not a shock. Markets are sideways. Yeah, 231K last time. Yeah, we have 2.5 minutes. Yeah, expected continuing claims. So usually we just look at initial claims. Continuing claims expected at 1.85 million. Previously, continuing claim should have been 1.844 million. All right, guys, here we go. 2 minutes. Scared. It's 100 getting revised. All I can say is I see layoffs. Almost 1 million. Yeah, it was like 898. It wasn't exactly. All right, so White House trade advisor says U.S. president wants J.P. Morgan CEO Diamond to reduce credit card rates. Why bother putting numbers out? Yeah, I mean, that's the big criticism for the official data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. All right, 1.5 minutes left, guys. Again, put it in 2x speed, and you won't have to hit the, live button all the time. Hit the live button, put it in 2x speed. We'll see what we get. But, data's getting ready to drop here, chat. We got about 1 minute left before the jobless claims unemployment report comes out. Here we go. 1 minute. Getting expected at about 220. Something is brewing. Great day, John. I appreciate you being on here, spitting out good knowledge. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you guys joining me. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. You want to put your last minute predictions out? You got 25 seconds to do it. 40 seconds. 260 is crazy high. I mean, man, if we're talking about revisions from yesterday, that's different. But 260 would probably make the market dump. All right, here we go. 5 seconds, guys. 5 seconds. Let's see what we get. Again, jobless claims expected at 220. It releases right now. All right, still waiting on this. Markets haven't really... Okay, 227,000, higher than expected. 227 versus 220K expected. 227K versus 220K expected. Initial claims, 227 versus 220. Higher than expected continuing claims at 1.862 million. 1.862 million versus 1.85 million expected. So higher than expected claims here, chat. Higher than expected claims. Again, we did show up higher than expected. Again, 227 versus 220 expected. Higher than expected continuing claims as well. NASDAQ has gone up a little bit on this report. Maybe pushing back on some of that weakness fear here. Again, jobless claims is out 227K versus expected 220, previous of 231. And if we take a look at this report here, chat, you can kind of see these graphs here. NASDAQ is going up. SPY is going up a little bit on this report. Sometimes the first move is the wrong move, so just be careful. And in the week ending February 7th, the advanced figure adjusted claims 227, a decrease of 5,000 from the previous week's revised level. The previous week's level was revised up by 1,000 from 231 to 232. 4-week moving average was 219.5. And yeah, you can kind of see this claims here. So higher than expected claims. Lower than last time, but higher than expected claims here today, guys. Again, higher than expected claims. NASDAQ is going up. I'm curious to see what yields are going to do. It is lower than last time for these claim report numbers. It is lower than last time, but it is higher than the expected 220. And yeah, yields are up a little bit here, which is interesting. But yeah, yields up slightly, 4.16%. They're really about right here. So, but the NASDAQ and the S&P have gone up from this report. The NASDAQ have gone up on this report. Again, we came out at 227,000 jobless claims unemployment filings versus 220,000 expected. I'll put this data up on screen. Again, we'll put this up on screen, but jobless claims did show up higher than expected. Again, higher than expected at 227,000 versus expected 220. Again, 227 versus expected 220. And yeah, let me know if you think this is good or bad, guys. Higher than expected, maybe pushing back on some of those job numbers that we got yesterday. Higher than expected data here. Higher than expected jobless claims means more people filing for unemployment. It's actually weaker than jobs. Although, again, it is lower than last time. It is lower than last time. So, I mean, NASDAQ and S&P are going up right now. We're moving a little bit here. Jobless claim showed up right here. We're going up a little bit. NASDAQ's moving a little bit more here. You can see the volume spike in the NASDAQ. So it's not nothing. It's just, again, we have CPI tomorrow. So that's going to mute a lot of other things. But NASDAQ is going up some in this report. We'll see if it holds. Again, we'll see if it holds. But again, jobless claims is out. Uh, 240. Yeah, I don't know. Again, we showed up at 227. Expected 220. Previously, we showed up. They revised it up 1,000 to 222K. Is what this is. So a little bit weaker than expected. Jobs data here. So again, 227,000 projected 223. Again, give me a follow on X.com, guys. We publish all this stuff live. You can see the graphs here on X.com at Beginner Trades. Give me a follow. Everything we do here is free. We don't sell a course. We don't act like gurus. We just kind of give you free data, cover markets, trade live. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see what we get today, though. Again, we are going to be trading live at the opening bell. This is a big push up. Let's see if we can correct on the downside, though, now. Although the NASDAQ has jumped some here. Might short this volatility here. Yeah, maybe the first move is the wrong move from this report. What happens? Oh, 3 micros. Very small though. The high of the day. I don't want to run to the highs though, but we'll give it a second. I just want to see a reversion back to the 200 exponential at 350s, or at 370s now. That's kind of what we're doing. Let's see if we revert back down to 370s or 350s. Bullish for Bitcoin. It does show higher claims. Whether it's bullish for Bitcoin is arguable. I think you can look at it in 2 different ways here. And here's Bitcoin. You can look at it in terms of it's lower than last time, although it is high than expected, lower than last time. So you can look at it in that context a couple ways, but there we go. A little bit more off up here. Very small trade so far, but maybe I'll add to this. Give it a little second here. We'll come back to this. But yeah, Bitcoin kind of unchanged. We're not really moving. Jobless claims being up means a rate cut. Jobless claims doesn't have that much weight on rate odds. It's a week-to-week report, right? So it's only week, like one high jobless claims number. It's not going to influence it in some super profound way. Although like the combination of all of them might, right? And last time we did get higher than expected jobless claims. We had a lot of weak jobs data last time. So again, we will see if it holds. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I just want to see if we revert back to the 200 EMA here on the NASDAQ. There we go. We are short a little bit heavier here, but 5 contracts. Kind of flat on the day though. I want to give this a second to break down, but I also don't want to get stuck in like a high of the day push here. Yeah, I'm gonna cut that. Got out in time. I mean, we only lost 50 bucks, but we're getting close to highs. I don't want to get stuck in the high of the day here. Again, look at the SPY. SPY ripping up. Existing home sales are not going to move markets much either, to be honest. Again, markets probably will be muted leading into the reports tomorrow. Look at the NASDAQ just broke highs here. Wow. Look at this pop. Sort of contradicts yesterday's numbers. Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, this is, again, February numbers, though. Jobless claims is February numbers. So this is how many people filed for unemployment last week. What this is. So again, we'll see. We'll see. Nasdaq testing highs of the day, though. Here, look, Nasdaq, S&P. Big moves up here. I think the market liked these jobless claim numbers for whatever reason. I mean, they were lower than last time, higher than expected. I'm trying to figure out what the market wants, and I don't think it's easy necessarily. Hey, appreciate all the follows, guys. Uh-oh, so Jim Cramer has said that NVIDIA is the GOAT per CNBC. Is that bad for NVIDIA? NVIDIA, guys. I mean, honestly, NVIDIA is pushing towards highs as well. Ignore this candle. This is just a rogue candle that, like, a random order got filled below it. It's not a real candle. Oh no, it'll drop. Yeah. Waiting for CPI. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, CPI data tomorrow is the main event of the day, or of the week, I would say, versus maybe the only other one was NFP yesterday. We had almost 4,000 people for NFP yesterday, so you can tell it was like a weighted report. We'll see what CPI shows up as tomorrow. I'm bag holding. AMD. Market is crazy even if we had jobless data ahead of time. Yeah. I mean, we're showing strength here for sure after this jobless claims report. I would say it's kind of a mixed report. It was higher than expected, but it wasn't like 20, 30,000 higher than expected like some previous ones, and it was lower than the previous reading, although it's hard not to get lower than the previous reading at 230 plus. Yeah, this candle's, it's not a glitch, it's a random order that just got filled. Usually when you see these candles here, they revert back to the previous closing price. Why? Because a lot of these are random orders getting filled right around the previous closing price from yesterday, the previous day. So that's why those candles show up. Like one order can make this candle. Like one order getting filled way down here, make this candle. Bag holding AMD. Kramer's the Seinfeld of the market. I like bad data because it increases the chance of cuts. Why we dropped yesterday on strong numbers. BLS trying to sell us as a high fire, high higher, or high fire environment. Otherwise, it does not justify the better than expected NFP numbers. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Nasdaq testing 25 fours right now, 25 fours. So, over 25 fours right now, still pushing higher here. Look at the swings right now in markets, guys. Wow, look at some move here. Over 25 fours right now, if it holds. Nasdaq strength going up. Bull stepping in if it holds. Yeah, look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA's right at the highs of the day here. Wow. Okay, let's see if it holds. Up in here. Strength in the market right now. Look at the Nasdaq push. Bulls are in control ahead of the open, though. NVIDIA's testing highs. Yeah, we're popping up here. Let's see if we hold, guys. Again, tomorrow's CPI report is going to be the big story, for sure. Look at this strength showing up here right now. Citi delays Fed cut April forecast until April now. Look at this Nasdaq push here, though. Kind of a crazy move here. We've had a bunch of green candles now. Yeah, look at Nvidia. Nvidia's at 192.50. Gonna keep higher. NASDAQ, 25 force here, 25 force. About 45 minutes until the market opens. Let's see what we get on that today. But look, NASDAQ just tapped highs again. Very big swing to the upside though here, chat. Very big swing. Is NASDAQ breaking out of the morning range? Great companies. Yeah, I mean, I think so. John, explain again, please. Explain what? What do you want me to explain? Dollar index? Yeah, here. Explain all of it. So, I mean, if we're looking at things objectively here, the official data contradicts the other data that we've been seeing. Again, high jobless claims, weak challenger job cuts, or high challenger job cuts showed weakness. You know, we had JOLTS report show up much weaker than expected at 6.5 million. Firings were up relative to expectations. And so we've had a lot of contradictions in terms of the job market here. And the question is the job market weak or not? That's the real question. Again, yesterday's job numbers for the official Bureau of Labor Statistics data showed strength, although the revisions were up. So we did see strength in the official data yesterday. 130,000 jobs gained for January, 130K, which was much stronger than the 65,000 expected or so that we had expected prior to yesterday's report. A lot of people are arguing that this data is going to get revised down. And again, we have had a lot of weak contradictory data relative to what we saw yesterday. And so, again, it'll be an interesting market. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, we have had a lot of weak data here. Has been weak. And so we'll see if the data from tomorrow holds. No, it's not trash day, sir. But I appreciate it, but it's not trash day. Yeah, not trash day. You just moved the goalpost setting break-even jobs. Yeah, I mean, again, jobless claims, unemployment were higher than expected. They expected 220. They showed up, again, they showed up at 227, so about 7,000 higher than expected. They revised last week's jobless claims higher as well. Now last week's job claims were 232K. So they did revise last week's up. And again, we do have CPI inflation data tomorrow here. So tomorrow, I still think we might have muted price action. I don't know for sure, but I still think we might have some muted action leading into CPI inflation data. CPI inflation data is one of the main events that we get. Very big report, very relevant, very influential report here. So, again, we will see what CPI inflation data tomorrow shows. And it's all relevant to all this stuff here. Again, we'll see. But, again, it's all very relevant. Anything about Archer Aviation? I don't know much about it, to be honest. Dollar index still falling here. Look at the Dixie fall. I have a screen repair business. People aren't spending the money right now on luxuries. Yeah, honestly, we have the money, but my wife's phone's been cracked for like 6 months. If it works, it works. And the crack is pretty small. But the problem is that fixing a screen is like 30% of what the phone is worth most of the time. Maybe not 30%. I would say maybe fix 8% of what the phone's worth. But it's not nothing. It's not nothing. And screens break all the time. Has to do with cuts for either June or July. Yeah, if we look at the odds of rate cuts here, and again, let's see if these changed a little bit. This was at 5.9% before this jobless claims report. Again, 5.9%. It's still, for me, at 5.9%. You could also look at the net effect of yields from this report here. Exit out of some stuff. I just got too many windows up right now. Hold on. Yields. Yeah, yields are essentially unchanged right now. Like, they're up a little bit, actually, from this report. So I think people are interpreting this as strength being maybe lower than last time, but yields are up a little. Not much. They're virtually on. And again, this is all heading into the jobless claims report next week. Or tomorrow. Or CPI inflation data tomorrow. If it was a big crack in the screen, we'd replace it. Wall Street Journal just reported that the U.S. is preparing to send a second carrier to the Middle East. Yeah, let me know if there's an echo. There shouldn't be an echo, but let me know if there's one. So you're at neutral on rates. Yeah, a lot of people are arguing. We had what, Hammock yesterday come out saying that we were basically at the neutral rate right now. Bulls trap selling off. Yeah, I'm wondering if this is gonna make oil go up some. Oil's actually down. The oil's starting to move up a little bit here. The Middle East news. No echo? Alright, good. Get it. I don't know, man. Everybody always thinks a market crash is right around the corner. You know, the way I describe market crash being around the corner is the same way a lot of people look at end of the world predictions. Right? Everybody wants to believe that they know something that other people don't, and that the end of the world is going to be under their watch. They've thought this for hundreds, if not longer, hundreds of years, if not longer, obviously. And I think crashes being predicted is the same way. Everybody wants to feel like they have insider knowledge and they're contrarian and they know things that other people don't, and that a crash is just about to happen. The reality of it is every single freaking day somebody's telling me the market's going to crash, and this has been the case for years and years and years. And eventually we will crash. Again, like Thanos says, it's an inevitability. And so eventually, I'm sure the people who have been predicting crashes for 5, 6 years, 7 years are going to celebrate and act like they're finally right about one, but their accuracy is still in the dumpster, you know? I'm not talking about Michael Burry, but I'm talking about Michael Burry a little bit too. I like Michael Burry. Michael Burry will slap me with his wallet, okay? You know? But this time's different, John. It's always different. Again, look at oil pop. Oil popping a little bit. Go to Winterfell. The crash is coming. I say it once, I'll say it again, dude. The Night of the Seven Kingdoms has grown on me. That last episode was good. Citi expects the Fed to deliver the first rate cut of the year in April. Previously, they had bet March following jobs data, so they pushed back their rate cut expectations as well. People are more worried about being right, calling something than making money. Need a recession, housing too expensive, jobs not giving raises, just need 30% pullback, everybody living on credit. Yeah, I mean, a recession is the only time in markets where we generally see actual decreases to, you know, again, I show this graph a lot, but it's important to understand it. The only time we really seen prices drop over the last 20 plus years, 2008 recession. They don't stay down though, but maybe, you know, a recession, if you're really fearful of inflation and pricing, you know, a recession might be what you want. Didn't Burry predict the crash 2 to 3 years earlier, and in these 2 to 3 years his life was miserable? Yeah, but we haven't had a crash, though, is the only thing, like, against that. You know, generally speaking, every year at least once we have around a 10% pullback in markets, right? Generally speaking. There's outliers. Please don't find some obscure year and be like, nah, bro, this one year, you know, generally, we get a pullback like that. It's not a crash, though. A crash is 20-30% quickly. And so there's a difference between a correction and a crash. Corrections are healthy to a certain extent. I would rather something correct a percentage, you know, around those percentages versus go up, up, up with not stopping. So, bro, I don't know why it always hates your post, Lenny, about that cycle. Roblox and silver? Yeah, maybe. The stand chart cuts Bitcoin price target, warns of further drop. Standard Chartered slashes 26 Bitcoin target to 100,000 from 150K. Its second cut in 3 months. Warn prices could fall below 50 before recovering. They cited ETF outflows, weaker macro drops, and delayed Fed rate cuts as risks. Bitcoin dropped over 40% from its October peak. Investors have pulled nearly $8 billion from U.S. spot ETFs. It also cut its 26 ETH target to 4K from 7,500, expecting it to dip to about 1,400 first. Despite losses, they say it's been more orderly than past crypto cycles and crashes. Russia's Volgograd refinery has reportedly halted oil processing yesterday following an overnight drone attack, according to sources. Amundi, which is Europe's largest asset manager with $2.4 trillion, will reduce exposure to the U.S. over the next 12 months, according to Financial Times. And also, multifamily mortgage delinquencies are going up. Serious delinquent rates in multifamily mortgages at Freddie Mac are up to 0.48%, the highest in 21 years. It has doubled over the last 2 years as well. Fannie Mae multifamily delinquency rates are up to 0.75%, the highest since 2021. The peak of 2008 financial crisis was 0.8%. Speaking of recessions and mortgages, not looking good there either. Cisco Systems down after earnings. Yeah, Cisco's down. Not a general. That is what we need. Yeah, maybe. See. Why does the market care about hitting the expectation number more than the number itself? Because the expectation is what's baked into the market. That's what is baked into the market. So the farther we go out, like over or under the expected, the more variance we get, the more movement we get, the more volatility we get, I should probably say. AI cloud firm Nebius post surge in capex on GPU and data center. All right, guys, NASDAQ up to 25.4s again. See if that level holds on the NQ. Where's Bitcoin at? Bitcoin back up to over 68K. Again, looking at our poll here, are you bullish or bearish on tomorrow's CPI report? 58% are bullish on inflation report. Does that mean y'all think inflation is going to show up low tomorrow? You think we're going to have low inflation data? I feel like a lot of things are blinking red, but the stock market chugs along. Stock market does what stock market does. Again, most of the time, stock market's going to go up long term. So, anybody betting against market going up long term, talking decades, you know, you gotta just be careful. How come Trueflation says inflation is low, but the Fed says it's high? What do you define as low? I know people like to bring up the 2% goal, and I get it, right? That's the goal. Again, the analogy I always use is if I want to make $1 billion and I make 800 million, am I going to be upset about that? Probably not. I still probably celebrate. You know, depends on how much money I have, I guess. But I think you got to look at inflation the same way. Like, is the target 2%? Sure. Is 2.5% super bad? No, it's not. 2.5% is relatively low inflation. If we show up at 2.5% tomorrow, which is a big if, and then the bigger question is it accurate? We'll hear some words regarding that as well. So we'll see. But hey John, what's the best way to know when something such as financial data and certain events is priced in? I mean, markets are going to price it in. That's what they do, right? Now, whether that price in is good or bad, and whether it's accurate relative to what, you know, is a different, much more nuanced thing. As Bitcoin again got up to 68.3s, but leading into every reports, like, it's priced into a certain extent, you know. You can look at prediction markets. We talked about this earlier. There's something called the wisdom of the crowd. You can look at those to see what the odds are and then make bets depending on what you think. But because the stock market is made up of so many different stocks and assets and things, it's almost impossible to gauge. You know, you might think it's extended, overextended, underextended, or whatever, but yeah. Nebius Group reported a sharp rise in quarterly capital spending Thursday, driven by purchases of AI processors and growing data center investments. Here's gold. Gold almost flat on the day, right around 5100s here. We do have existing home sales. There's 9 o'clock. It's now 9 a.m. We'll see if we get some volatility from this. But so it looks like they're trying to avoid a shutdown here. White House made a last-minute effort to avoid a shutdown of DHS. White House official confirmed to The Hill that it sent a legislative text of an offer Democrats on Capitol Hill on Wednesday evening. However, they're unlikely to accept this. Leaders rejecting a proposal earlier this week as, quote, incomplete and insufficient. So, I think we looked earlier, it's about 84% likely that we're going to shut down. The DHS funding is going to lapse. And here's Nvidia. Nvidia's been breaking highs basically all morning. Pretty green on the day. Closed at 190. It's now up to 192.50. Here we go. Negative deltas. Buyers being absorbed on EP on ES. Yeah, here's the 200 exponential. We get down there, I might be a buyer on the S&P or the Nasdaq. I just gotta wait for it though. Again, MU's gone up a lot. Use up to 425s today. Again, SanDisk memory provider up as well. 640s. After Goldman Sachs raised their memory price outlook earlier. Maybe we got a bullish or bearish poll. We'll probably do one closer to the opening bell about whether you're bullish or bearish for the open. We'll see. Bulls are always bull or bear. Why not give option for sideways? We keep it simple here. Yeah, Bulldog came in like Oprah buying everybody memberships this morning. We appreciate Bulldog Trading. Check them out. You guys red or green today? A little bit slower than yesterday. Yesterday was obviously more exciting. Today's a little bit more boring, but that's all right. Nasdaq still falling down here. Again, we hit the 200 EMA right here at 25 360s. I'll probably buy it. We'll wait though. Again, rate cut odds haven't really changed much from today's jobless claims report. They're still at 5.9% for a rate cut next month in March. So it's still unlikely that we're going to cut rates in March. Tomorrow's CPI might make it a little bit more interesting though. Wow, it's a tough day. Almost lost my shirt. Be careful. At 227 versus expected 222,000. Again, SoftBank swings to 1.6 billion net profit as tech investors seek to increase. Dow Jones was lower a little bit. I think it's back up though. Here's the Dow. Yeah, the Dow's green on the day is what I'm sure. It did fall on the jobs report, but it went back up. It's still a little net red. It was pretty high ahead of this jobs report. Jobs report showed up here, bumped the Dow back down pretty big though. All green, green, red, green. Why is the Mag 7 turning? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why the Mag 7 is turning, to be honest. It's not turning that much, though. I think it just went up a little bit too much after the report. I think it just went up a little bit too much. Again, yesterday's jobs report much stronger than expected. What are you guys looking to trade today? I'll probably try trading some stocks at the open. We'll see. God, do you put any thought in risk management into SPY seasonality dips? Jobs numbers are always lies. Drop day for a pop day tomorrow, quite possibly. This week something big is going to happen? You mean this week? This week? Because this week's almost over. Do you mean next week? This week? Because again, we got CPI inflation data tomorrow that might move things. But again, I think markets could be choppy leading into it. I'm going to look for choppy sideways neutral trends today. Maybe short tops, buy bottoms. Depends on how much momentum shows up. That's kind of my plan today, is look for sideways action. John, you mentioned stock futures are coming, but isn't that what the NASDAQ and the E-mini is? No. So the NASDAQ and the E-mini are what's called index futures. So they are, the NASDAQ is the S&P, or the NASDAQ is the NASDAQ 100 ETF. NASDAQ 100 index is actually what it is. Sorry. The ES is the S&P 500 futures contract. So that's an index, right? Single stock futures are coming, which means that of the biggest stock names, you're going to be able to probably day trade like Nvidia futures or Apple futures, right? So you're going to be able to specifically trade the biggest stocks, basically individual stock futures, which is what they used to have. It's why quad witching was called quad witching, is because it was index options, stock options, like S&P 500 options for index options, Apple options for stock options, index futures like the ES or the NQ, and single stock futures like Nvidia or whatever. That's why it was quad. It was four. It was four option types expiring same day. Right? That was why it was called quad witching. They got rid of single stock futures a while back, and so technically it's just triple witching now. But again, it looks like they are going to be bringing back single stock futures, which is great. It's something they should be doing here. They should let us trade it. And it probably will expand the prop space even more, really. But yeah. Prelim data has indicated that the U.S. economy has added 584,000 jobs last year, but the Bureau of VLS revised that number after it received additional state data and found that the labor market only added 181 jobs last year. This is far fewer than the big jobs that were added in 2024. Yeah, so... But yeah, like when we look at the NQ, right, this is the NASDAQ 100 index. Like the NQ is the NAS 100. Now the NAS 100 index is not open in pre-market, but futures are, right? Same thing with like, this is the Dow, right? YM is the Dow futures contract. So this is the Dow. ES is the S&P 500. So this is the S&P 500 futures contract. Right, this is the S&P 500 futures contract. So these are all index futures, is what these are. Next quad witching day. It happens 4 times a year. It is March 20th. March 20th is the next quad witching day, which is, again, is a day of historical volatility. You got 3 major contract types expiring same day: index options, stock options, index futures. I don't know when we're going to get single stock futures, but the rumor is it's going to be sometime this year. Index means adding a bunch of stocks together and taking the average price of those stocks, right? So the S&P 500, this is the E-mini futures, but you can look at the actual S&P index. Here's SPX on TOS. Right, this is the S&P 500. But again, it's not open right now. E-mini futures are, though. And again, they're right around the same price. But this is the 500 top stocks that they consider the top stocks in the world. 500 top stocks. Right? The NASDAQ 100, which is the NQ, which is this one on the right, is 100 stocks. NASDAQ 100. The Dow is 30 stocks. So the Dow 30 is 30 stocks. Right? NASDAQ is generally more tech heavy, has more tech stocks. S&P is generally more diversified, has 500 stocks, a lot of different sectors. The Dow is less diversified, but also a little bit less tech heavy as well. So the Dow is diversified, but there's less stocks in there, so. All right, guys. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Yeah, the revisions to labor was not good yesterday, I think. Again, I'm looking at yields right now. Yields are still climbing up some. Not a huge amount, but you can kind of see jobless claims came out right here, and yields have popped higher. So we will see what we get, but yields are climbing up today. Inflation going down. Yeah, tomorrow's interesting. Again, tomorrow we have CPI inflation data. It's something. Tomorrow, it's one of the main event reports. Like, I would say the biggest, most influential data releases at 8:30. CPI inflation, payrolls. I'm trying to think of what the next big one is. Probably the next big one would be like PPI inflation. So I would go NFP data, PPI inflation, or NFP data, CPI data, PPI inflation data. If you have the Fed decisions in there, you can add those maybe ahead of PPI in terms of influence. And then we have probably like PCE inflation, which is the Fed's preferred inflation metric. After that, you probably get like, I have to think about what the next big mover is. Jerome Powell press conferences, maybe. Yields are my next thing to learn. Yields are interesting. Yields and interest rates follow each other. So that's the reason people look at yields. You know, yields and interest rate sentiment follow each other. So if yields are up to 4.165%, that means we have higher interest rate sentiment. That means it's less likely the Fed's going to cut earlier, even if it's just by a small margin, right? Even if it's just slightly less likely, yields are going to move based off of the data here. An example of this is yesterday's jobs data was much stronger than expected, right? So yesterday's job data, considering a stronger economy means we have less justification for earlier rate cuts, right? Less justification to bring rates down, because bringing rates down is stimulative. If it's weak, we need to stimulate it, right? But because the jobs market was stronger than expected, what did yields do? They went up. Why? Because it means we don't need to cut as much. And so that's the easiest way to understand yields, is yields and interest rates follow each other, and then bond prices and yields inverse each other. So bond prices, if you look at yields yesterday, they went up because of stronger job numbers. Bond prices probably fell yesterday when this data came out. Yeah, look, here's where the data came out, right here. The bond prices go down as yields go up and vice versa. So easy correlations once you understand it. Just takes a little while. AMD, let's see. Again, Nvidia has been pretty strong on the day. I'm looking at this level right here though for Nvidia. So look at this 193.60s level. It's the high of the last week. We tested it again yesterday at the opening bell. So if Nvidia can break this level, it could show strength. And so that's the level I'm looking for on Nvidia. Again, 193.60s. See if we can get over that. Nasdaq's still falling down. It's right at the 200 EMA now though. Do I want to buy this? See. Algorithms sometimes pick stocks up at the 200 EMA if it holds. You know, we're now dipping under it. Now we popped back over it. If we head up now, there's a little bit of pop. ISM manufacturing over 50 is the most important data currently. Don't you agree? I mean, I don't know. ISM data has showed a lot of strength. We've seen a lot of strength in ISM data lately. A lot of strength. Now, whether we're going to continue to see strength and whether that data is going to move things, I don't know. Regarding like what's the most influential thing, I'm not sure. I think ISM data is important right now, just based off of the history we've seen over the last few weeks of ISM stuff. But again, regarding like, I don't know what we're gonna really get regarding ISM now. We could have big movements, and we could not have big movements on ISM. When's the next ISM print? The last one was really strong, like the strongest level in a while, if I remember correctly, for ISM. All right, so Russia is listing ideas for U.S. partnership in a memo. Russia memo sees joint plans in energy, minerals, and fossil fuels, and sees a return to dollar system in a pitch to the president. You know, I have to look at when the next ISM data is going to show up, but yeah, I mean, if we're looking at next week here, next week we have PCE and GDP data. Again, next week we have PCE and GDP data, and the Fed minutes report. So we got some stuff next week. I don't know why they did GDP and PCE on the same day, but they did. So. Last week we got ISM data, so we're actually we already got ISM manufacturing data. It showed up at 52.6, very strong. Again, we'll see what it looks like, but we're not going to get that until next month for ISM data. Yeah. All right, guys, we got 12 minutes left until the market opens. 12 minutes. Yeah, we have GDP on Friday next week, along with PCE inflation data. So we do have GDP next week, along with Friday GDP. Nasdaq's kind of slowing down, though. It's right at the 200 EMA. What do you think about crude oil? Do you think it goes up? I think it depends on what goes on in the middle regarding crude. So in that way, it's a little bit harder to predict what we're going to see with crude. But I think crude on the day is down still. So crude's pushed up a lot over the last few weeks. It was pretty low for a while. 54s back in December. Now it's 64s. So again, though, it's pretty difficult to predict what crude does unless you know what's going to go on in the Middle East and beyond. Yeah, gold and silver, we'll see. All right, guys, we got 9 minutes left, or about 9.5 minutes for the opening bell. Leaving near all-time highs. Yeah, we'll see. Again, we'll see. Nasdaq did bounce a little bit at this 200 exponential level here, guys. So you see the 200 EMA. We did bounce some here. Big pop. Again, though, we might chop. I still think we're going to chop today. Leading into CPI tomorrow. I still think we're going to chop today. They made me a thumbnail. Nasdaq still bouncing here, though, chat. What's it good? All right, guys. Again, we're gonna be day trading the opening bell live. We'll trade stocks, probably. Maybe gold and silver, indexes for sure. Futures. All right, so Homan says the president agreed to end Minnesota enforcement surge. Yeah, tomorrow's CPI report's relevant, though. We'll see what we get. Eight minutes here, chat. 8 minutes. All right, I'm gonna do another poll here. Are you bullish or bearish for the opening bell? Here, just for whoever asked, I'm gonna put sideways as an option. You're welcome. All right. You're welcome. My fingers hurt from having to type the sideways option in there, so. You know. Yeah, we gave a sideways option. 20% currently voting sideways. Again, Nasdaq's still trying to hold here. SanDisk memory shortage popping it up. MU is up pretty big too. Again, Apple's red on the day, but it's starting to move back up a little bit. Microsoft, we did buy the dip earlier. We'll see if that dip buy benefits us. Let's see. I think we're up a little bit in that trade, yeah. Yeah, we're up small in our Microsoft trade. Bearish today? Yeah, looking at our poll, 51% are bullish, 28% are bearish, 23% think we're going to get sideways chop. I think we're going to get sideways chop as well, but it might be big range sideways chop leading into CPI. Depends on what kind of news we get to. Existing home sales comes out at 10. It's not a big report, though. Here we go. Again, jobless claims, 227. 227. We got about 5 minutes left. Here we get. Honestly, the Nasdaq's kind of quiet. That's why I'm betting sideways. What do you think about HIMS? I'm in HIMS right now. Although it's not looking good. Novo's suing them for what they consider knockoff weight loss drugs. And so HIMS is down pretty substantially here. Luckily, my position is very small. But I don't know if I like it enough to buy back into it heavy. Too much potential variance and outcome. Sideways today and tomorrow by the dip. Again, we'll see what CPI inflation shows up tomorrow. Coinbase earnings at 5. What do you think about Google when he bounced back? It dropped significantly last couple of days. I don't know. I'm in Microsoft. I like Google as a company, though. Tomorrow might go a different direction than today. Yeah, we've been in a range, especially Nvidia, but Nvidia's starting to head up today. Nvidia is what I'm watching at the opening bell in terms of stocks. Nvidia's made a big push, getting close to 200s. And again, the level I'm specifically watching is this. Really, it's right around 194.50, but I'm watching 193.60s right here too. Basically, I'm looking at this range on Nvidia, which it's really struggled to get over. But it's close enough now where a retest of it is possible. So again, we got 3.5 minutes. That's what I'm looking at for Nvidia right now. I'm looking at this range specifically. Nvidia is the most heavily weighted stock in the Nasdaq, in the NQ, and so it moves it. So yeah, we're gonna watch Nvidia at the opening bell, see if we get some good trades. Your voice is lagging. What do you mean lagging? My voice is lagging? Taiwan Semiconductors up a lot. Yeah, for sure. Google's due for a good day. Yeah, Coinbase earnings this evening. Coinbase earnings, like, I mean, it's not big enough for me to stream, but I'll watch it. I'll probably pay attention. The next big boy is Nvidia, which is on the 25th. So we got about 17 days. Or no, I'm sorry. We have 13 days until Nvidia earnings. How's DraftKings been, man? I think one of the biggest losers from the prediction market is going to be DraftKings. And yeah, DraftKings, again, the prediction market's hurting this one for sure. You know, look at DraftKings on the year, long-term chart. I think one of the biggest losing stocks is DraftKings from prediction markets. Unless they get involved with it, which I think would be a smart thing for them. Yeah. Yeah, I used to like DraftKings stock, but you got to see how things change. And again, prediction market's going to eat up DraftKings business, I think. Probably. All right, guys, a minute and a half into the opening bell. NVIDIA just popped up to 193s. Right now, 193s for NVIDIA. Could be the open. Market on open. I'm trying to see if there's news. I don't see anything. But could be the open movements here. Look at NVIDIA pop. Wow. Yeah, I don't see a reason for NVIDIA popping, but it's moving up. Nasdaq moving down. All right, guys, here we go. 40 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. We will see what we get today for the opening bell. All right, guys, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Good luck, friends. Try to make some money today. $20 seconds. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. NVIDIA pop it up at the opening bell. The Nasdaq's falling down some here at the open. Again, Bitcoin trying to get over 68s, not holding over. It's at 67s, just right around 68,000 right now. Here's the opening bell. Good luck. All right, there's the bell here. Nasdaq fell originally at the open. See what NVIDIA does here. Nasdaq just retraced the drop though and pushed back up here. Let's see if we continue higher. Again, SanDisk is down. Alphabet is flat since the opening bell, really. AMD's dropping a little bit here. Look at NVIDIA pop. So again, NVIDIA is getting close to that 193.60 level we've been talking about. Let's see if it holds. If it breaks it and holds, that's a good win for NVIDIA. But here's 193.60s. All right, Nasdaq doji candle here, struggling to figure out which direction to go. NVIDIA falling down a little bit now here too, look. NVIDIA dipping. Nasdaq starting to flush. It's sideways though. We're not really getting any big direction here, I think. Microsoft bloodbath continues. It dipped a little bit at the open, but not that much. It's actually pretty much flat since the opening bell. This almost looks like a dip buy here. It's too close to the bell. We're about 2 minutes into the day. I gotta wait a little while. Yeah, Microsoft now green since the open. Dipped a little bit before the open though. Yeah, not an investment professional. We're not liable if you lose money. Don't copy me. Where's the bottom for Amazon? Looking at like 200s, but I have no idea. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me. Very choppy opening bell though here, chat. Might try to buy NVIDIA here. I gotta switch the EXT order. Alright, we're at 50 shares of NVIDIA. I'm gonna buy the 200 exponential dip right here so we can get a little pop. There we go. There's the pop. Very quick. Alright, I'm out. A little scalp on NVIDIA. I'll take it. Green is good. $20 bill is fine. In about 5 seconds. I should have bought the dip of the Nasdaq though. Look at the Nasdaq pop. It's moving up a little bit here. I think it wants to go here. Could have held Nvidia maybe. Yeah, my Microsoft position's so small, like I could probably just sit on this. Goldman Sachs, top of the market. I don't know what to do with the Nasdaq here. It's looking weak, but let's see if Nvidia continues. Nvidia could save it. Nvidia make a move up to 193s. All right, a lot of stuff turning red right now. Yeah, a lot of stuff turning red. Nvidia included. I don't like that drop in Nvidia here. It looks weak. Yeah, it was weak. Yeah, we could have chop today, guys. That's the only thing I'm kind of worried about here is just choppy sideways neutral activity. We'll see, but Nasdaq tumbling down now. Wow. Could we bounce here? Nvidia needs to get over the VWAP here. Let's see if it holds. Yeah, it looks like Nvidia wants to try. See if it does. Nvidia's trying to get over the VWAP. There it goes. Very choppy open here, guys. We're not really getting any big direction pick here in markets. Don't know which way to go, to be honest. A lot of traps right now at the opening bell. Will we break out of this chop ahead of CPI inflation? Maybe we'll get into something here, but we gotta wait for this range to break. We're very sideways. They get very choppy. Let's see if Nvidia starts to fight this upward push. If Nvidia gets up there to 193, it can save the Nasdaq. Where's gold at? Yeah, gold sideways too. Bitcoin down slightly from the open though. Look at Bitcoin here. Not really easy direction now though, so just be careful today, guys. All right, there's the NASDAQ fighting its way up here a little bit. Will the choppy trend continue here, though? I don't know. It could. Or it could just punish everybody. Whoa, look at NVIDIA drop all of a sudden here. Not a small drop either. Bull trap. Maybe here. NVIDIA dropped not a small amount here. It is now under the 200 EMA here. See what happens to this range here, guys. Again, it's still pretty flat. Is the president speaking today? I don't know. Maybe. He could. Things are really trappy right now, though. SanDisk still popping up though here. SanDisk is still trying to make moves. If it holds. Nasdaq is trying to get up there. If it does. I'm optimistic. Like, I want to see it do well, but I don't know if it's going to. I just don't even know what to trade here on the NASDAQ. It's just not doing anything. SanDisk is pushing up to 660s right now for SanDisk. Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about NVIDIA not holding over 200 exponential here, falling down and at the VWAP and back down and cracking lows and dragging the NASDAQ back down. Here's NVIDIA breaking lows again. SanDisk up to 661s right now. Though. Look at SNDK. 660s for SanDisk. We hold down now. One right up 2%. Yeah, look at SanDisk up to 665s. NASDAQ is basically untradeable at this moment, though. Home Depot. Here's Nvidia. Nvidia gets back over the VWAP, I might buy it. Here's the VWAP right here on the NASDAQ, but again, very choppy sideways action here. Not really a shock that the market's moving this way, to be honest here. Not really easy. Kind of boring price action. Again, we told you guys we thought we would range today. We might break out of it, though. This is a very tight opening range now, though. I don't know why the NASDAQ is down so much, but over the last few minutes, the NASDAQ has just dropped big here. I don't know what it is. And I'm trying to see the stock. Microsoft's down a little bit. Apple's falling down some. Nvidia just got slumped back down too. Nothing's really holding down though is the problem. That's why we keep retracing back up. Like stuff drops and then it basically gets bought right back up here. Apple's slumping down here. That's what's dropping some stuff right now. NASDAQ's almost red on the day. We do have CPI inflation data going live soon. Look at this red price action here. Alright, so NASDAQ went right down to this 25.8 level here. Like still falling down, kind of looking weak still. Gotta kind of wait. All right, so we're right at the previous closing price. I don't know whether to buy this up or not. I'm just gonna sit tight and wait here. The range trader in me kind of wants to buy it up, but the risk management in me doesn't. We'll see. Maybe I should have bought it up, but get CPI inflation data. Drops tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Maybe I should have bought that dip here. It honestly kind of looks like I should have. We got that yellow line on my chart. I don't know where it's from. Whoa, look at this drop here. Wow, look at this. Not small here. Again, this is a little boring of a day. It's just hard to trade this. We are starting to get some breakdowns, though. NVIDIA chopping sideways, too, here. Can't tell what Bitcoin's doing. Can you look at the chart? Bitcoin's down slightly with everything else. There's Bitcoin right there. Took a little while. More people filing for week. We actually had less people than last week filing for unemployment, but it was higher than expected in regards to unemployment data. So we actually had more people filing for unemployment. But yeah, I mean, I'm down on the day about $200 day trading here. We've made money every day this week, and I'm not really going to push harder, I think, in this account right now. So, and we will see what tomorrow's inflation data stream looks like. Not your fault, it's just bad markets. Yeah, I mean, we made a little bit day trading stocks, but it's not been easy. I want to believe that NVIDIA is going to recover here. Let's try to buy a little bit more. I know it's risky. We're right at the 200 EMA. I just want to see if it pushes up and try to reclaim the VWAP here. 100 shares, keep it light. Probably need a little bit larger size. This is not as big of a size as I wanted to pick 200. Go. We leave this little guy in here. A little bit better. Yeah, the wedge break did work 100%. Would be your fault. I did try to trade a sideways market, but down 3.5 thousand. Sorry to hear, man. That's rough. Hope you make it back, though. I'm really just trying to trade small. I mean, look, we've done pretty good day trading. I don't want to give it back here. You know, this is the last week of day trading, so I don't want to give it back. But, you know, in the end, you know, this is how it goes. So, you're not going to be green every day. See if you can keep it up tomorrow. Dude, I'm not shaving my head, bro. Tell me to shave my head, dude. Get out of here. I might ban you just for the recommendation. How dare you? Bitcoin's trying to make a fight back up to 68,000 right now here. Bitcoin's trying to get back up there. Again, the White House is looking to ramp up pressure on JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon to cap credit card interest rates. Again, job growth to slow. Fed sees rate cuts ahead. City economists expect softer job growth in spring and summer after January's 130K payroll gain, which beat the consensus but fell short of city's forecast. Weaker labor should allow the Fed to resume rate cuts later this year following a likely hold in the first half, according to Citigroup. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you. I already did it, Pawn, so I appreciate it. Hey, yeah, y'all have a good one. I'm probably going to cut out of here as well, man. I'm just not really loving this market right now. Nasdaq's red. Could short the trend. We're down small. I don't want to turn it to down big here. We're down small in everything. And this is, again, going to lead us into tomorrow's CPI inflation data here. Hey, good luck, guys. Good luck. I wish you guys luck. Hope you guys do well. Bitcoin's up about 1% on the day, though. But I'm going to cut out of here, guys. Listen, Nasdaq's still falling down, though. We have 3 minutes until existing home sales. Should I stay? Should I stay until existing home sales? Yes. All right, guys. You got 2 minutes. You better hold my attention for 2 minutes here, guys. You're welcome. I'm gonna start charging by the minute here for making me stay here to cover existing home sales, even though it's not going to do anything to markets here. Existing home sales today expected at 4.16 million. 4.16 million. We'll see what we get. Nasdaq breaking down, though. Nvidia falling down here. Gold is probably pushing up a little bit, maybe on the Nasdaq's decline. Gold falling down, too. Silver. Bro, I can't type. Silver, $82. Bitcoin up about 1% on the day, but struggling to hold over 68K. You get existing home sales for January expected at 4.16 million. Drops in about a minute and a half. Stay for the culture. NASDAQ coming down. Did my mic stop working? No, I'm reading. No sound? No, it's just you, bro. Again, I got less than a minute existing home sales. Tomorrow's stock market will likely perform the same as last Friday's. It depends on what we get for CPI data tomorrow. CPI inflation expected at 2.5%, lower than last time. We'll see what that looks like. But again, CPI data expected at 2.5% tomorrow. NASDAQ falling a little bit. Silver falling too. Stay with us until we stop losing. That would be forever, sir. Again, 20 seconds left. 20 seconds. Existing home sales expected at 4.16 million for existing home sales. We'll see what we get. SanDisk pulled back to 650s. All right, here's the existing home sales data, and it showed up at 3.91 million, weaker than expected existing home sales. 3.91 million, down 8.4% month over month. 8.4% negative month over month at 3.91 million, weaker than expected, lower than before. NASDAQ is breaking down a little bit actually on this. So again, 3.91 million versus the expected 4.16, down 8.4%. Last time it was up 4.4%. It is down 8.4%. Weaker than expected existing home sales today, guys. And we'll see if this continues the red action that we're seeing in the NASDAQ here. Again, we'll see if this continues the weak action. Anyways, I'm out of here. Good luck. Love to everybody here. I appreciate it. Good luck, guys. I'll see you guys later. Y'all have a great day. Again, CPI inflation tomorrow. Hey, what's up, Skrelly Planet guy? I don't know if you're actual Martin Skrelly or just just somebody making content about him. He had some good biotech stuff, though, for a while. Like, good biotech content. Anyways, I'm getting out of here. Later, chat. Have a great day. CPI data tomorrow. Be here. I'm going to redirect you to that stream. No bathroom breaks. I expect you to sit here and just wait until tomorrow.